And we're live. Troy Francis, Jack Napier. How you doing, sir? You good?
Doing well. I mean, summer finally broke in the Netherlands. Finally. We've been getting around 30 degrees here, and I am loving it. I'm loving it fully. How about there?
It's actually, in London, it's actually been really hot this week. And I think that's going to continue for a little while. I mean, as you know, the summers here are pretty shitty for the most part. But we've had some really, really fucking good days, actually. So yeah, it's been really nice. Although a lot of the time I've been kind of I've been monk mode a little bit. I've been kind of just sitting in my room with the fucking lights off, just getting on with shit. So
jerking off vigorously.
Well, absolutely, man, absolutely. I mean, I'm I'm going for instead of nofap, I'm going for mofap. I'm just seeing what effect that has.
Well, did you know that ejaculating, what was it, 27 times a month decreases what's that thing called again? Blah cancer. A prostate cancer. It decreases the chances of prostate cancer by a significant margin.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, 27 times a month.
Right. So basically, if you're watching this and you haven't got a girlfriend, you need to start fapping, because just for your health, basically.
It is something. It's funny you should mention that. Rob, who I do Red Evening with, he absolutely hates nofap because
I hate nofap.
Yeah, correct. But his biggest reason is he had a friend die of prostate cancer because he was like hella religious and in a sexless marriage. And even the doctor said, like, yeah, if you just ejaculated more, this could have been prevented.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a shitty way to die, man. It's like, wow.
Yeah. I did do a nofap stint once, and it wasn't even. I mean, the problem with nofap is I think there's a lot of bullshit that gets connected with it, like, oh, you're going to become this superhuman, and then, and also there's this theory that they say, oh, women can tell if you fapped or not. I think that's bullshit, to be honest. I just don't think that's true. But they say you're going to become this superhuman kind of guy, and it gives you all these amazing powers and stuff. And it's all bollocks, obviously. But I did try it for a while because I was doing a bit of a dopamine detox. So I was trying to reduce my dopamine from that and various other things. And I ended up after I did about 6 weeks, and then I did it when I did ejaculate. There was blood coming out of my penis.
Whoa.
So I went to the doctor and I said, I was, a bit concerned because, and he said he didn't definitively. I said, look, I haven't ejaculated for this period of time, and he didn't definitively put it down to that, but he did say that could have had an effect, because it's like working at a bar. You need to clean the pipes sometimes, don't you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you really do. And if you don't have a girlfriend or whatever, or a main plate, or you don't date vigorously or what? No, regularly. That's the word I was looking for. Regularly. Then now you kind of have to take care of their own, because it is a bodily function. It has purposes, things like that. And if you don't do it, I mean, it's the same with women when they don't masturbate or whatever. Like, what is that? Like, something with down there doesn't it has its negative consequences as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know the exact phrasing of it again, and I don't want to sound stupid, but ladies, do your thing.
get the vibrator out, get the magic, get the rabbit out, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So basically today we were going to be talking about dating girls from different cultures, even different ethnicities and stuff like that. We'll start off with that. I mean, we could go into other areas. So if people have got questions, you put them in the chat, and obviously we'll get to them. We can make this more general, but I mean, obviously having some conversations this week on Twitter about dating foreign girls and things like that. And
I should have never let you two meet. That was the biggest mistake.
I mean, look, in all fairness, I think the reality is, I went off on one too much, really. I probably shouldn't have done that. I'm sure he's a great guy. He said something. I mean, look, we're not going to go into details, but he said something that was kind of offensive about this girl that I'm seeing. And obviously I reacted to that, and then he kind of escalated and blah, blah, blah. But whatever. I mean, who gives a fuck, really? It's maybe we can, shake hands and put it behind us. Maybe I don't know, but
you'll two be fine. You two will be fine.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I mean, he does seem like a decent guy. It was just obviously a comment like that is gonna kind of trigger me, and I think I was just in that particular mood or whatever on that day. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed recently, but my Twitter has become a bit more combative, let's say.
Well, it is. Unfortunately, it is the way to grow. Unfortunately, I mean, Nuke has got Twitter on lock. He is growing like a madman on that platform.
What's he at now?
I believe he's around 12,000 now.
Okay, but I mean, he's grown quite quickly then.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
12,500. I mean, go get it, man. He deserves it. He earned that.
Well, his content is also really good, and that's the thing. And this is what Ryan Stone always talks about. Is it's like you've got to sort of balance the entertainment factor, if you can call it that, with actually giving some genuine advice. And I do also try to, and I'm taking X. I'm sort of putting a bit more time into X again now because I think it's certainly since Elon took over and everything. I think it's sort of a platform that's worth investing in. I mean, I haven't really grown for a while, to be honest, but I mean, hopefully I can sort of reverse that trend because
I was so pissed off. I got my account suspended. I was this close to monetization. I had the 5 million impressions.
Why did that happen?
So I made a tweet saying, ladies, if they ban porn, you do realize you have to put out more for your husband, right? And that got all sorts of people out of woodworks. The beauty of it was Rolo retweeted it and Pearl retweeted it. And if there's two accounts who got more hate followers than I could care for, it's those two. So all of them just jumped on it. And I had a couple of Karens in there calling me a kid diddler and whatever. And I was so sick and tired.
Why do they always take it there? Like, why do they always? I mean, I guess because it's the worst insult that you can the worst slur that you could give to somebody. But it's like what relevance does that have to what you originally wrote? I mean, it's just stupid.
They were saying I was forcing myself on women and whatever. But there were two in particular that just rubbed me the wrong way. They were like very annoying and they were patting themselves on the back. And I was so sick and tired of it. So in a response, I posted a goatsy. And for people who don't know, that is an image of a man bent over, stretching his asshole with his hand.
Is that the one that Ryan posts?
Yeah, and I mean, I talk with Ryan about that. It's like, because I was getting comments, I'm like, I get it. I understand why you posted. It's like you see a response that is so absurd, devoid of any logic, that the best response you have is like a man doing that. He's like, yeah. I'm like, are you okay if I do it? He's like, man, I don't own the thing. Do what you want. The thing is, though, the image he always uses is, I think, a bit of an AI generated one. It's not the original. I had the original. I found the original. So I posted that. And of course, one of the two reported it as a violation of the terms of service for harassment. And therefore, I got suspended. Not banned, suspended. So I've been appealing it every week just to see what happens. Because I called somebody the F word once. I got suspended before. Then I got it back.
Did you write the whole word? Or did you just write...
No. It was the image that I posted.
Right. Well, when you called someone the F word, I mean, did you
that was the full word. That was the full word.
I think things like that, obviously, you got to...
I learned my mistake, but now then Elon took over, I got it back. And Elon is like, oh, free speech. He unbanned the F boy. I'm not gonna Nick F boy.
Nick, he unbanned Nick
that one. Now, apparently the algorithm doesn't like his name, so I'm careful with that one. And he unbanned Alex Jones. Yet here I am, some Dutch shit poster who gets suspended from that platform. It's like free speech, my ass, man.
Yeah, I've got to say that image is particularly unpleasant, though. I have to say. I mean, whenever I see Ryan post, I'm just, oh, man, Jesus Christ, man. But I mean, I do get it though. But I mean, we're obviously going completely off topic now. But I mean, before even getting to the topic. But I mean, some people are. It's just a very annoying platform because obviously it's part of the game, but it's just people come in and they'll just say stupid stuff or deliberately misinterpret what you said, or it's just and if you're somebody who and you know, we all go through different moods. You know, sometimes we're feeling cool and chill and whatever, and other times we're, you know, quite hyped up. And if you're a bit hyped up and somebody says the wrong thing, it could just really fucking get to you, can't it? Which is, you know, which I mean, look, on one level, maybe we shouldn't, because, you know, would James Bond get wound up, like, would Daniel Craig James Bond, would he get wound up about some quote on Twitter?
He'd probably find his IP address and kick the guy's ass in real life.
Yeah, true.
Probably.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I don't know. Like, I look at Twitter.
Not that we're condoning that, of course.
No, I mean, he has a license to kill. I'm not saying.
True. Yeah.
But
so all right. So what about dating girls from different countries then? Because it's interesting, because this comes up quite a lot. Because so one of the criticisms that we get quite a lot. I say we, I mean me and James Tusk and people associated with that. One of the criticisms that we get, and there are many, but one of them is, oh, you're going to these countries and, oh, you can't make it in the West. So you're going to Colombia because you can't make it in, you know, you can't date in England or whatever, or America. So you have to go to these places where it's easier. I mean, what do you make of that as a critique?
Funnily enough, this morning I did some research on a new post I want to make on Substack about how easy it is to get in the top 20%, really. And what I was looking at first is like the global statistics. So, okay, what is the average global height of a man, which is 5'7"? What's the average net income of a man worldwide, which is only 12,000? What is the obesity?
Euros. Okay.
Or dollars. What was it? Let me check real quick. Wow. I got it here. No, okay. The average global persona income is $9,733.
Okay, right.
Average. That's the average.
Yeah.
And obesity rate worldwide is about 1 in 8, which is
okay.
Goddamn, or that's obese. That doesn't even count for overweight, which is even higher. And that got me thinking, like, okay, so worldwide, it really isn't that hard to get in a top percentage of certain factions.
Yes.
Looking at that, why not go to where you're treated best? Kind of a spoiler alert. That's where I want to go with the whole article. Is go to where you're treated best. Like, if you can, let's say, I am a huge fan of a warmer climate. I am just like, maybe my mom cheated or whatever, or some Islander or whatever, but I yearn for the beaches, sort of say. I yearn for the sun. And I was looking at like Curacao, as we say in Dutch, and the average income there is $700 a month. I can make that easily online, easily. So why not move there when it has the climate I want? And I am already, with the income I make here, in a top earning bracket.
Yeah.
Why not do it? Oh, because you can't make it in the West. No, I'm making it easier on myself and more pleasant on myself. I mean, my taste in women isn't even like Islander or however you want to call it. I prefer Caucasian, in all honesty, like blondes, skinny blondes. But lifestyle-wise, why wouldn't I do it? I mean, the FIRE movement, the financial independent retirement early.
Well, the FU money thing.
Yeah. They had that figured out years ago, where it's like, go to where your money buys you the most. But why just do it with money? Why not do it with status and looks as well? Go to where your looks are most appreciated. Like in the Netherlands right now, because I'm noticing this, and maybe I'm a bit narcissistic on this one, but I have a feeling people do not prefer me over the guy with the dad bod because I am high maintenance. Like,
oh, really? So, oh, right. Okay. So
it's just a theory. And I wonder if other people find this as well, where if you are a guy who works out, if you are a guy who works on his style, if you are a guy who like works on himself, blah, 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 wants to be successful, walks around with a certain strut in his walk, that you get more. No, you get less looks, and the looks you do get are more of aggravation or condescension, really, of like, oh, there's this arrogant prick, or oh, he must think he's better than me, even though like I don't even know who you are, sir. Kind of like that.
Mm.
And
so that's an interesting take. So you almost think, without being arrogant, because I know you're not an arrogant guy in that way, but you're almost saying, well, yeah, a little bit. I mean, we all are, but you know, you're basically almost saying you're outperforming the local market, and that's to your detriment.
Well, because look at the average. The average person is overweight. Like that is the norm. Look at the norm. The norm is overweight, not working on themselves, probably in depth some way or another, miserable, very timid. I mean, you always say like, stop being a boring schmuck.
Yeah,
well, the majority is a boring schmuck.
They are.
And then comes in this guy, like maybe you, James Tusk. I wouldn't categorize myself in there, but like I am a bit extravagant. Throw that into the mix. What will happen? Mind you, that the women are calculated or are categorized in this as well. As in, the norm for a woman in the Netherlands these days is 10 centimeters shorter than I am, which will make 1 inch is, so that's 4 inches shorter than I am, yet my weight. They have the same weight I have, yet are 4 inches shorter.
Yeah.
That is odd. That is the average Dutch woman, where it's like, okay, that's your average. Why not go to where the odds are more in your favor, where more people take care of themselves, where obesity rates are lower, where your income might be higher than theirs, but other priorities are more valued.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
So it's a thought experiment that I haven't completely figured out yet, because I do sound like a bit of an arrogant dick still. So I need to, put it into place a bit more.
Well, yeah, no, I agree with all of that. And actually, as far as the traveling thing is concerned, I mean, I talk to James Tusk about this all the time, because obviously, I mean, he's just traveling the whole time. And I mean, his attitude, and mine as well, is look, the reality is, we'll get haters who come when we do a stream. We'll get people going, oh, some bloke from like living in Hull or Wigan or something in England is like, oh, well, you can't make it in England. You can't make it in the West. So you have to go to these third world fucking countries. And it's like, bro, you're not going to win any fucking awards. It's not like when you die, you're going to go to heaven and St. Peter's there at the gates. And he's like, yes, you stuck it out in the trenches in England and you pulled a bunch of munters. Well done. Here's a fucking medal.
Yeah, congratulations. You have never seen past the borders of your country.
Yeah. I mean, nobody gives a fuck. What is the result? What is the end game here? Well, if you're single and you're looking to date, most guys, they want to date attractive women, right? It makes sense. And I mean, ideally, you want to be punching a bit above your weight, right? That the old definition of game. You've heard the expression, younger, hotter, tighter, right? It's sort of like Krause used to talk about. I mean,
it is the cure to erectile dysfunction. Just saying.
Well, really, you want to be dating a woman who is, to be honest, a couple of points above you okay, we can argue about this, but let's just purely on looks and things. Arguably, you want to be dating someone who's almost better than you, not better than you, but just sort of like.
It's got to be hard for her, though. I mean, finding a woman better looking than I am.
Well, yeah, exactly. But okay, look,
I know what you mean.
What I'm trying to say is, the person you want to be dating, the women you want to be interacting with, is the girl that you see in the bar, and you think, fucking hell, she's hot. And you almost internally think, "Fuck, would I genuinely have a shot with her?" And then you go and talk to her, and she likes you, and you guys end up, getting together and whatever. That's the kind of girl you want to be dating. Because if you're dating Mrs. Average, who's just kind of like, yeah, she's all right, she's quite cute, maybe a little bit plump, whatever, then that's fine if that's what you want to do. It's your life, but it's not really game, is it? It's not really any sort of success. You're just doing what every other dude does, which is basically just taking what you can get from the market. And the only reason, in my view, to be studying this stuff or spending any time thinking about this stuff at all is to outperform where you would think you would naturally fall in the marketplace. Okay, so if you take someone like me, I mean, I think I'm, I bang on Twitter about how amazing looking I am and stuff like that. I think I'm a decent looking guy, but I mean, really, I mean, I'm in London. There's a lot of competition here. There's a lot of there's a lot of tall, good looking, in shape guys with money, right? It's not like I am sort of, some kind of mega chad in London, but I can still date in London. I can still meet women in London, and I can meet attractive women who are, a lot younger than me. I've to put it politely, because of the other stuff. Because I think I passed the looks threshold enough. I believe I dress well. I think I present well. Plus, I understand all of the game dynamic stuff, and so that's allowed me to perform pretty well in what is actually quite a difficult market. But the truth of the matter is, if I went to Colombia, or if I went to Ukraine, or if I went even to Poland, it is going to be somewhat easier for me to achieve a higher result just without doing anything different. Like, I don't have to go there and suddenly I'm doing some kind of crazy like NLP kind of mind trick game or something. I'm doing exactly the same stuff, and the quality because I then have the benefit of what they call exotic value as well, because I'm from somewhere else. I'm from London. Oh, that's cool. Oh, James Bond.
Trumpets.
Yeah. Tea in the afternoon. So there is some truth, but there again, as I say, so then people will say, okay, so you're doing it because it's easier. Well, it might be somewhat easier, but equally, if the women that you meet are also more attractive, which is presumably what the end game for most people is, then why not do that? Because again, you're not winning any prizes for sitting in your hometown and taking the slops there and patting yourself on the back because you never went to Colombia. You know what I'm saying?
Well, exactly. But that's the whole thing. This is kind of like, this is rule zero, where it's like optimization of male sexual strategy. Go to where you're treated best. And that's it. Like, What's wrong with that? Like, imagine a man saying to himself, you know what? I am a tall white guy who's muscular and has a pretty decent income online. Why not go to a country where that is rare? So, and not per se rare, but also more valued.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what I mean. What you mentioned, like Tony from the north of Sussex. Essex, sorry. No, both of them are places, I believe. Sussex and Essex.
Yeah.
He goes with some bird from the barn, will never work out, drinks beer on the dime, hangs out with all the lads, same as him. They're both out of shape, have no real future prospects, have no real ambition, you name it. Then yes, congratulations, you have succeeded in being the average. But if you want to be above average, even if it's just a bit, because like I'm not that huge above average, in all honesty. Like, I work out and that's it. And I have an online passive income. I have a side hustle, which a lot of people don't have. And I was blessed with genetically good looks. Thanks, Mom. But other than that, it's not that much. But since the norm is so bloody low, since the low is the norm is so disastrous, anything that makes you significantly better than that is already frowned upon in those surroundings. It's kind of like an old Sylvester Stallone quote, like, once you stick your head above the crowd, people will try and take it off. Crabs in the bucket. Crabs in the bucket. That's it.
Yeah.
That's where it comes down to.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I would probably say, I wouldn't say that's necessarily my experience in London per se, because I think
London is like a huge world city. So
well, obviously I'm not blessed with your godlike good looks, Jack. But
if I can look like you do at 50, I'm signing away everything I have now. I'm getting a Satan's deal right there.
Well, thank you. But I mean, as I say, I mean, the reality is that the competition here is quite high. So with other dudes, not every dude. I mean, there's plenty of schlubs here as well. Don't get me wrong, but there are decent, there are decent level guys here as well. So I don't quite experience the same thing where it's like, oh, people think I'm too good. But I can certainly hold my own, and not just like literally. I mean, I can hold my own. I can hold my own socially in this environment, even though there are guys who you might say are objectively, better looking than me or whatever, because I think I've got the other qualities that I bring to the party that a lot of these guys don't. But nevertheless, the travel side of things, as I say, I think it's just kind of short-sighted and a bit idiotic of people to criticize it because they think it's easy. Because again, I mean, like think about first principles. What are you actually trying to achieve here? Are you trying to achieve some average bird in some average town in the UK or America or Holland or wherever the fuck you are, or in the very, very short amount of time that we have on this planet before we're dust, would you like to not try and transcend that and get something a little bit better? Now, there's another side to this as well, which is pertinent to the conversations I was having on Twitter earlier in the week, which is also, even within England, am I dating English women or am I not dating English women? Now, I actually made a vow a few years ago that I would never date an English woman again. And the truth actually of the matter is that my dating history, I mean, I've had a number of what you would call serious girlfriends, who I've been with for a couple of years, whatever. And actually the majority of them have been English, and they've been white English. The last one was the last English girlfriend, proper girlfriend that I had was a fucking disaster. And that kind of put me off for life for various reasons I won't go into. But, it was just a very, I felt a very toxic thing, and I got myself out of it, and thank God for that. But the truth of the matter is, and particularly back in the day, I mean, London's not really quite as good as it was some years ago, I don't think. I mean, because years ago, before we left the European Union, and there's fewer Europeans here now and all the rest of it, there was a time when the city was absolutely full of just smoking hot Polish women. There were loads of hot Romanians here. There's loads of, fucking beautiful girls from Eastern Europe and Spain and Italy and all this kind of thing. Now, I was at Ascot at the weekend, as you might know. I put it on Instagram and stuff like that. Very English event. Proud to be British, all the rest of it. But with all due respect to our wonderful women, they're not really the best on the planet, to be quite honest. I mean, there are some very beautiful English women. There's a lot of pretty average English women. If you're looking at a mean average, if you look at if you go to a nightclub in London and then you go to a nightclub in Ukraine, the difference is night and day. Okay.
I mean, even our good buddy Tate said this. He's like, if you think going to Eastern Europe makes it easy, you are sadly mistaken. Well, because that is one thing I do want to add to all of this, though. Like the women who are above the norm, and I'm not saying all of them, but 9 times out of 10 they're already taken, or they have an Instagram, and that's where you enter a whole different beast of the sexual marketplace.
Yeah, because then you've got the whole global dating marketplace thing going on. But Tate is absolutely right, and I mean, there are certain nationalities. So some places I've been to, the women like foreign men, and they certainly like English men, or maybe even Americans. I don't know, but they certainly like English dudes. And the London thing helps as well because it's got a certain mythos around it, and you can kind of glamorize that a bit or whatever. So they like that, but not everywhere. Not everywhere by any means. And Romania, Tate always said about Romania, and I think, from my experience, I've been there a few times, I think he's right. They'd actually prefer to date guys from Romania. They're not really super impressed.
The short, stocky, broad, angry-looking guys.
Yeah, with the Adidas and all the. But no, but I mean, what they actually want is to date somebody from their own culture, really. So, but you're right. There's this whole misconception that you just get on a plane and it's ultimately it's easier in everywhere. Now, again, with all of these things, it's nuanced. There is some truth in that. If I go to, I've been to Bogota in Colombia, and with James several times, and we've done boot camps and stuff like that. And there's no doubt that, on average, I get more attention, probably from more, younger, more attractive women than I would walking down the street in London. There's absolute truth in that. But, and this is something else that Tusk always says, there's always a top tier. There's always a higher tier. These are the women, the Instagram models, the girls who are on, that go on the yachts and on, whatever, who have access to the top tier guys. And if you think that you're going to get on a plane as some fucking schlubby, out of shape English fuck, and you're just going to wave your passport and she's going to jump into bed with you, then you are a fucking moron. It doesn't work like that. And James said this even about Thailand, because even Thailand is the most stereotypical place where everyone thinks, oh, it's super easy, blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, you could probably meet some, ratchet kind of, I don't know, some kind of ratchet ladyboy or something if that's what you're into. But again, if you're looking at the top tier, you're going to need to have, well, you're certainly going to need to have some game. At the very least, but you're also probably going to need to have some access, and that means either knowing people there or at least having some money, and arguably less money than you need in London, but having a bit of money so you can maybe stay in some cool places, you can go to some cool bars, things like this, so you can start to infiltrate that. So once and even then, Tate would say if you go to Bucharest, there's plenty of fucking Lambos in Bucharest, there's Bugattis, there's fucking, McLarens and shit like that. People think that these places are these third world shitholes. People think it's like a Borat movie. You go there and everyone's like riding around in a car. It fucking isn't, and this is not to imply this is all about money, because it isn't. You can still, but nevertheless, you've got to be realistic about this. There are guys out there who are, in all of these countries, who are attractive on all of these levels. They've got the looks, they're in shape, they've got the money, they've got the status within that local community. And if you're just some tourist who's just got off the fucking plane, then is it going to be easy to access those top tier women? Of course not.
No. And you bring up a good point, because a lot of people always talk about social game. It's like social circle game. Yeah. But isn't status the same thing?
Well, yeah, that's an interesting thing as well.
Because status can only be acquired in certain aspects.
Yeah.
Or in certain areas.
So do you follow Mike Sartain a lot? Do you look at his content?
No, not a lot. I have heard nothing but good things about him, in all honesty. Yeah. So, but I have never.
When you healthy
yeah, I know. Like, I've never talked to him, and I haven't watched his content that much either. No offense.
No. So he's obviously tight with Rollo now. They do Access Vegas and all that stuff. I've met him a couple of times. He's a very, very intelligent guy, and he's also a very nice guy. From the short interactions I've had, he seems like a very cool guy, very, very friendly, super intelligent. Obviously super socially savvy. And of course, his big thing now is selling his, I forget what he calls it. I think it's like his Men of Action program. And his whole model is this social circle thing. So basically, you've got all these pictures on his Instagram of him in Vegas surrounded by girls in bikinis. And it's like, and the argument is like, look, if you turn up to the club with like 20 hot women, everyone's going to look at you and be like, fuck, who's that guy? That guy's super, super impressive. And then it may not be that you're sleeping with those women necessarily, but the sort of the halo effect is going to draw people in. And what he's done,
I've even experienced that at a lower level.
Well, and it works, and he's right. But
it's true. That's kind of what I mean with the norm. Like, if you are a guy who goes after it and things like that, and blah blah blah, and you go to like a birthday party of your mates, and like half of them are successful in some aspects, the other half is not successful at all, and you're the one who goes after it all, and you bring a chick with you, guess who gets all the attention?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I had this years ago where I brought my then girlfriend to a party. She was the most interesting thing there. And all of a sudden, people I hadn't talked to in years wanted to talk to me. I'm like, what the hell?
It's true. It's true. But also just generally, if we're looking at it in terms of pulling other women, if you rock up with a bunch of, I mean, I remember once years ago in Manchester, I was in a club and I was kind of friends. I knew like quite a lot of these girls, and I was with one girl who I was sort of on a kind of a date with or whatever. We were there together, and this bunch of girls came up and started talking to me. And I remember, and then they went away. And I remember the girl I was with saying to me, "Oh, you're just surrounded by beautiful women, aren't you?" And she obviously loved that idea. It sort of elevated my status in her mind, because she's like, "Oh, fuck, this guy, he there was no suggestion I was necessarily sleeping with any of them or anything like that, but it was like it raised my status." But here's the interesting thing, right? So what Mike has done as part of his marketing is he's kind of going quite hard against cold approach, because what he's saying is cold approach, which is for the uninitiated, it means basically, you walk up to a girl, you've never met her before, you say, "Hey, hi, you look cute, wanted to come and say hello." Then you try and get a phone number, all of that, the basic day game stuff. He's going hard against that, I think, as a marketing thing, because what he's saying is my method is better, because instead of doing all of that shit, instead rock up with a load of beautiful girls and automatically you're going to get status, right? As a marketing concept, as a way of marketing his product, I think that's very good. And I would probably be doing the same thing. The issue that I have with it, though, on a more practical level, is firstly, I think Mike Sartain started out doing cold approach anyway, because he was very involved with the game scene. But here's the real thing. You need to have the social savvy, okay? It's no good. So I get guys coming to me and they're saying, "Oh, should I do Mike Sartain's course?" And actually, we know some people who are doing it, and they're doing quite well with it, actually. They're building up and they're getting great photos with cute girls and building an Instagram and stuff. And so it is working. But the fundamental point is, if you don't have the social savvy, it's going to be a fucking disaster. Because if you're some dog and you're no good at talking to women, you're not very social anyway, and yet somehow you cold DM a load of girls and you organize a party and you bring them along, how's that going to go? You're going to be sitting there with your dick in your hands. They're all going to be talking amongst each other. They're probably just going to go, see some other Chad over there and go off with him. And you're going to go home on your own and have a sad wank into, and kind of cry yourself to sleep. Do you know what I mean? So the model, the social circle model works if you're somebody who's good in social situations. The problem is a lot of guys who come to us for help aren't very good socially anyway. So it's almost like trying to go from 0 to 500 in do you know what I mean? Because if you're not...
I 100% know what you mean. But that, I mean, if Mike says that like cold approach is dead, that's marketing too. No offense again, Mr. Sartain. I've heard nothing but good stories about you. You and I have a common friend, but the cold approach is dead thing. That's just pure marketing where it's like, my thing is better. And I'm not saying his thing isn't good, but cold approach till this day, till the end of time, will be a thing.
Well, I think it is marketing, and I think it's good marketing. And it's, again, no disrespect to Mike Sartain, but I think that personally, I think a combination of the two might be the sweet spot. I think actually practicing going out and talking to people, particularly, I mean, look, it depends on what level you're coming at this from. If you're somebody who's super social anyway, and you've had loads of girlfriends, and you've got no problem going up and talking to people at parties and stuff like that, then great. Maybe the social circle model is going to work for you, and fantastic. But if you're like a lot of guys that we have, they're very shy. They're quite introverted. They're quite shy. They find it quite hard to hold conversations with women and stuff. It's going to be very hard for you then to go and sit in a nightclub in Vegas with a bunch of hot bikini models and make that work in any meaningful way. You're not just suddenly going to turn into a fucking social superstar overnight. You need practice. And the reason that a lot of the stuff that I've taught and James has taught and everything is like, go out there, do the reps, is to get people to have the practice, because over time you get better at it. And then you're going to start to, be able to handle those social situations better. Now, actually, spoiler alert, me and James have actually been discussing maybe incorporating a bit more of a social circle element into what we're doing, because it does make sense on a lot of levels. But, again, it's like it's only going to work if you're the kind of person who's going to be effective in those situations.
That is true, and it also brings up another point. Go to where the women are. It's an old post by Ian Ironwood, where
is there a book of his stuff? I mean, can you?
Yeah, there's two of them, apparently. Ian Ironwood wrote The Manosphere, which is more of like a history of all the Manosphere, and he's also got, what's it called? There's another one. I forgot what it's called. It'll come back to me. But the Red Pill Room is his old blog, and I posted a link to that specific article in the chat. It's like, go to where the women are. This is a big mistake guys make as well. And it comes back to what you mentioned about traveling. Why not go to where the women are? I mean, like, is that a cop out? No, it's optimizing your strategy. Well, where it's like, no, there are far more. Like, London is huge. Like, it just is. So there's a huge population. There's plenty of women and this and that and whatever. But there's more places in the world where there are women as well. Why not go there?
And also, arguably, of high quality. Because London... we've dissed London for quite a long time. So, it's shit here, blah blah blah. It's not really. I mean, there's a lot of very attractive women here for sure, right?
The weather is absolute garbage, but
yeah, the weather's garbage. But there is a lot of attractive women here. But it's kind of diluted. It's spread out. Like, it's not like you're going to walk down the street and see wall to wall stunners. It's just, there's a lot of very average kind of looking people, and then there are some very, very beautiful people, but finding them and getting access to them is the thing. There are other places where for whatever reason, like the mean average is just higher. Okay, and if you're in, and Torero said this to me once before he disappeared. He said basically, right, if you think about it in numbers terms, if you think about, right, if I do 100 approaches, then I'm going to get. From that, I'm going to get a whole bunch of rejections, but I'm probably going to get a number of successes. His theory was that whatever that number is, whatever percentage that you're going to be successful is going to be the same almost regardless of the attractiveness of the women that you're approaching. So instead of approaching 100 average women and being successful with 20 or 30% of them, why not approach 100 super hot women and be successful with 20 or 30% of them? Because if the numbers are probably going to be about the same, which they probably are, then go for the better ones, and that may mean going to a different country, perhaps.
But the criticism of that strategy all comes down to, like, where, good to see you, by the way, Zolo. I haven't seen him in ages. Oh, good thing we should mention that, by the way, because that's why I haven't talked to him in a while, because I don't have him on Twitter anymore because my Twitter got banned.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. Mark Zolo is on Twitter. Naughty Nomad, that was it. That was his thing.
Yes.
Naughty Nomad. Come on.
Good to see him. So, well, so I was gonna. There's something else I was gonna mention. Yeah, I mean, so here's one issue, right? So also, we'll often get a lot of guys who will come for help, and they just live in a complete shithole, basically. They live in a very small town. There's like 3,000 people there or something. And they're like, okay, how do I get good at game? And it's like, well, with the best will in the world, bro, you're kind of fucked, because you're living in a very small place with a very small population. Whatever attractive women there are there's going to be competition. They're probably married off anyway, or with boyfriends and stuff. Like, you're screwed. Now, Paul Janka, the old, one of the original OGs, he
6'5", iron jaw, great hairline.
Yeah, but he would just say, look, move to New York. If you want to get good at this stuff, move to Manhattan, right? Or like, again, you've got to go where the market is, right? And I mean, there's some game advice that may work in a smaller town. I know our friend Paul, Mr. Come On Man podcast, I know that he has kind of like, I think he's created a course about dating in smaller towns, because obviously he's in a kind of backwater himself. So fine. I mean, good for him. I mean, yeah, I'm sure there's things that you can learn, but I mean, in general, volume matters, and not just volume down here, but I mean, volume of population matters.
No, it does. I mean, but not only that, you can still live in like New York, London, Rio, Lisbon. if you sit in your room with, as you like to say, dick in hand, you're not gonna get anything. Just living there alone is not good enough. You still need to get out there.
Well, another thing that Tom used to say is that sometimes there's a disparity between places that are good to live and places that are good to date. And for me, for various reasons, London is quite a good place to be based. Just, like family, friends, whatever, there's a variety of personal reasons. It's quite a good place for me to be based. Doesn't mean it's the best place in the world for dating. If I was, and obviously I've got a girlfriend, but if I was solely consumed with, right, where am I going to go for the best dating results? Would it be London? Probably not, to be honest. And that's why Tusk spends most of his time in either Latin America or Eastern Europe. Not because he couldn't. I mean, if anybody who thinks that James Tusk couldn't pull in London is a fucking idiot. I mean, let's face it. He's a good-looking dude, right? Like, he's not going to have a fucking problem pulling in London. Why isn't he? Because he knows that the options he's got are better elsewhere, right? I mean, it's not rocket science.
No, it really isn't. And that's what a lot of guys get wrong. That, how do I phrase this? Women don't come to you. You really need to go to where the women are. That's kind of the thing. Like, unless you're me, they come to you every now and then, but that rarely happens.
Exactly.
Once in a blue moon, it happens.
Yeah, But like Chad, good to see Mr. Chad of Arabia here. He says, never seen a hunter who stays in one spot and expects to get food that way. There's a reason hunters move around and chase prey. Exactly. Now, the other thing that I wanted to sort of move on to is this, what I was saying before about dating girls who are not English. So I mean, and actually, I did break my rule actually last year, and I did date actually for a short time a very, very attractive young English girl. It was very short lived because she was she had more red flags than a Chinese Communist parade party. Let's put it that way. But she was very attractive. She was very cute. She was English. She was half South African, but basically English, very posh, early 20s, whatever. Very, very pretty. Great. Okay, so I did break my rule, but in general, I actually prefer to date women from other, not necessarily other races, but certainly from other backgrounds. So like, I've also had longer term girlfriends in London who've been Polish, for example, or Ukrainian. Okay. Why is that? Well, as we were saying offline, I mean, what are you looking for really? You're looking for someone who's attractive, who's slim and who's pretty and feminine and attractive. And, those women have tended to tick those boxes. And so, again, I think dating outside your own, well, that's not really outside your race because they're Caucasian, but dating outside your own sort of national
inheritance.
Yeah, I think is absolutely fine. And then obviously we come on to the thing about dating outside your own race. So Zolo says, I can't believe you guys are suggesting dating outside your own race. So gross. I mean, obviously
he is joking.
Obviously he's joking because his adventures are pretty pretty well documented.
He's got an absolutely stunning girlfriend now, right? Who is of where was she from? I do, and I'm. It's absolutely like small detail, but from what I remember, she had a different heritage as well, and she was an absolute stunner.
Well, I think he quite likes Ethiopian girls from what I remember, who can be very attractive. So Baker's
Oh, I remember you have a daughter. You became a dad. Yes, I remember that.
Did he?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
It's so awesome.
Baker's,
he stuck the landing, boys. He did it.
He's passed on his legacy. He's done the trads proud. So Baker says race plays a massive part in dating. As a black man, I don't think I do that well in Poland, but still worth the experience. I'm not sure about that. I've known black dudes to do quite well over there. I think in general, I mean, there's a couple of things here. On the one hand, I think, as I said, predominantly I've dated women of my own race, and I think that there's why is that? I don't know. Maybe it's just the people I've met. Maybe there's a natural inclination towards that to some extent. But also, I also think that we also like people who are different. We like difference as well. Difference can be attractive. And of course, as you know, I mean, I'm dating a woman who is of Indian heritage, right? So she is obviously she has a different skin tone to me and everything else. And I also find that extremely attractive. And with that, it's different because I mean she's ticking all the boxes that I would want her to tick anyway. She's slim, she's feminine, she's elegant, she's fun, she's all of the boxes that you'd want anyone to tick. But also the sort of the difference between us is also attractive because sometimes it's some opposites attract, right? And I think that's a very real thing.
I'm gonna sound so cringe, but it's true. I never really paid attention to it. There are just some girls who do it for me, be it physically and behaviorally. It's mostly that combination. And then I don't look at the skin color, where it has happened before. Like my second girlfriend was half Iranian, half Turkish, something like that. Like complete coincidence. We just liked each other, and it's like, oh well, okay, you are that then. A girl who I dated. When was this? This was. When was this? Last year, January, maybe even when was this? This was December 2022, somewhere around there. I dated a girl who was half Egyptian or something like that. Somewhere her parents were a mixture of whatever. Great girl. We just liked each other. It so happened. I've had date with Mexican girls. I've had date with Brazilian girls. You name it. And it's mostly just like the physical attractiveness. They've got the body shape I want, and they have the character I can stick around with. Or it's like, yeah.
No, you're right. I mean, you're right. I mean, without being cheesy about it, it is literally. I don't think about it much either. I don't think about skin color or anything really. I just think, is she hot or not? I mean, am I attracted to her? And not
there's an Indian girl I know. It's like she's not the best looking in the world, but she just has a kind of vibe, and she's like very thin and slender. And I'm like, yeah, I could do that. I can do that. And she has a great back and forth with banter, where it's like, yes. Like high self-esteem, like, okay, this one I can kick a ball to and she'll kick it back.
Yeah. The also as well, I mean, the one thing about so actually Marcus said, Troy, your last girlfriend was also Indian. Do you have a preference there? It's the same girl because we got back together, which is, you might say, is contentious as well. But
Troy stuck the landing too, boys.
We reconnected after a period of God. But actually. And I've told her this. I actually do have a little bit of a preference. I do actually quite fancy Indian girls. Now it depends because again, I mean, there's a billion people in India, so there's a lot of them, and let's be honest, they're not all stunners by any means. But Indian girls, I think are up there amongst some of the most beautiful in the world. So yes, I do have a preference. But what's interesting about her actually is when I met her, because I met her in a club and I did a cold approach, or basically I went up and talked to her, whatever.
There we go.
And I didn't know her ethnicity. I couldn't figure out her ethnicity because I actually thought she might have been Brazilian when I first saw her, because her skin tone is fairly light. I didn't know. I literally didn't know. I just thought, she's cute. I've got to go and talk to her. Went and talked to her. Her mate's cock blocked, pulled her away. Went and talked to her again. Her mate's cock blocked again, pulled her away. Met her again, and I said, "Hey, listen, I'm going to get going soon. Let's just exchange numbers." We exchanged numbers, and that was it. The rest was history. But I actually, and then I think on the first date, I actually asked. I said to her, "Listen, I can't figure out what's your background? Because I can't figure out." And she goes, "Oh, can't you tell? I'm Indian. Can't you tell?" But she was brought up actually in Dubai. She was born. Basically, her parents were living in Dubai. Her father was a businessman. Her parents were living in Dubai. She was born in India because they had to go back for some kind of legal reasons. And then they immediately went back to Dubai. So she basically spent the first like 20 years of her life living in Dubai or sorry, like 10, 15 years, whatever. And then came to the UK, and she's lived in the UK now for well over a decade.
Would you want to go back to Dubai?
Well, we had talked about it. It's an interesting thing. I think she kind of fluctuates. I think she likes what sometimes she like. We went there on holiday a while back, and I mean, it's a great place. I mean, it's a lot of fun. And to be honest, I mean, I could probably see myself doing it for a period of time, because there's quite a lot of kind of influencer type people out there. I'm not saying you wouldn't want to be teaching boot camps there. You wouldn't be running around and like, like, all of that kind of thing. But
I would be very wary to approach in Dubai, where it's like, yeah, this is probably some guy's girl. 9 times out of 10, where it's like, yeah, she ain't single, man. She ain't single. The same thing in Romania. Like, it's like, oh shit, mafia, run. It's like,
well, nope. Yes, and I mean, obviously, with with the UAE, Dubai, I mean, you've got to be a bit careful with that kind of thing. But I think as a place to be based, I think it could be great. I mean, great weather. It's very chill. There's great places to go and stuff. It's just it's a fun place. But then I don't know what it would be like. I mean, it sounds nice, but then you know what it's like. Then you move, and I don't know. You're sitting around, you're like, oh fuck, well, what is, we can go to the beach, we can go to a restaurant, what else do we do?
What more would you want? You can go to
the beach.
I can just sit here on my ass and get tan. Yes.
But she does.
My dad came back from the Balkans, by the way. Jesus Christ, I've never seen that man so tanned. What the hell? What kind of sun do they have there? I want it.
I want to go to. We're supposed to be going to Albania quite soon, actually.
Ooh, nice.
Mark says Dubai is easy mode in Irish pubs. That's interesting. That's one to keep in the back pocket for sure. So I don't think she's got a huge burning desire. I think she kind of fluctuates between that, but she wants to buy a property here as well. So I don't know, but it's possible. I'd be up for doing it for like a year or something like that. Give it a go. I think it would be kind of fun.
It would be great for content.
Well, I think yes. I mean, as I say, I mean, obviously, I mean, Dubai, from what I saw, I mean, it's pretty liberal now. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, I think it would be very foolish to be running around and trying to hit on people. But I wouldn't be doing that anyway. It would be more like, making the usual kind of videos, but you could get some great backdrops and, the content, it would all look really good. And there's some fancy places there, so you can get some good pictures and things like this. So yeah, 100%. And like I said, like quite a lot of content creators live out there.
That one video you did a while back, you posted it on Twitter with the guy interrupting you. You should have drawn him in the video, man. Like, hey, what's up? But you didn't even say anything. You just looked at him and kept doing your speech. And that was good frame control, by the way. Just stay on topic, look at him a bit. He just runs off. It's like, oh.
Well, I thought it was, I mean, there's two ways you can go with those things. I mean, I have drawn people into, I did once draw a guy into a video because he did something similar, and I started talking to him. And then we filmed for a while. And then afterwards he said, oh, could you not put that up, please? And I'm like, oh, fuck. Well, we just wasted that whole fucking period of time. Do you know what I mean? Aww. So that's always the risk of filming in public, though, because, you get somebody. I mean, I suppose you could edit it out, but you get somebody who comes in and kind of wrecks it a little bit. Especially if you've been going for 10 minutes and then somebody comes in and tries to interrupt. You're like, oh, for fuck's sake, am I going to have to reshoot this whole thing? But it was fine. Whatever, But I just thought that bit was quite funny. So
yeah, it was.
But. What are we saying? But yeah, I mean, and then obviously, I think people have different attitudes to the race thing, because there are people who, they're concerned about race mixing, and actually, Pearl messaged me, and she was saying, the race mixer people on Twitter are some of the most annoying. The people who are like, no, you've got to keep it within your own bloodline, and and all that bollocks. And I just don't really give a shit about any of that, to be honest. I just think it's a load of bollocks. I mean, but that's just me.
I mean,
but here's another thing as well. Because there's also a perception. So whether you're in England there's also a perception. Okay, so you date someone outside of your own race, and that's easier. They think that's easier. But that's not true either.
No,
because to be perfectly honest, right? I mean, my girlfriend comes from, as I say, quite a lot. Her parents live in India now, but quite a lot of her family are in Dubai. Okay, and again, I can't give away too much personal information, but they're pretty fucking well connected. You know, like one of her family members just recently married like a steel magnate. Okay, we're talking like multi-millionaire kind of people here. That's where she's coming from. She's not just somebody off the street who's like selling mangoes or something. I mean, we're talking serious shit here. So, in a way, you know, and she obviously, you know, she for some stupid reason, she obviously likes something about me, but it's not that she's.
Don't say that, man. Don't sell yourself. You're an awesome writer. You've got great friends. You've got charisma. And I mean, 50 people. Troy is 50. 49.
Look at it, man. Look at it. But the point I'm making is it's naive to think, oh, you could just rock up to some girl, you know, who goes to events at the Atlantis Royal in fucking Dubai and has family members who get invited to, you know, some of her family members were invited. There was this big billionaire Indian wedding that took place recently. It was quite famous. I think they got, I think they had like Beyonce playing or something like that. It was like it was a big thing, you know, and some of her family members were invited to that. So actually, we're talking about pretty high society stuff here. So the idea that it's easy for me as some average fucking dude just to walk in and be like, "Hey, babe, let's go out," is naive to say the least. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, imagine some scruffy-looking nerf herder like me walking in there. It's like, I think they'd throw me out before I even get a word out.
Well, you know, I'm sure you'd be fine, but I mean, it's like I say again. There's a lot of naivety around this stuff, you know. I mean, and actually, if you look at London now, because a lot of the you've got a lot of Chinese people, property investors here now. A lot of the Russian people had to leave after the war because a lot of people got thrown out and stuff. But one of the richest groups in London now is the Indians, because there's some fucking rich Indians out there. There really is. It's not everybody, you know, it's not the stereotype people think. These people are fucking multi-millionaires, fucking billionaires, some of these people. There's a lot of money in that country. I mean, there's a lot of poverty as well. It's extremely polarized. But high society in India is fucking minted, man. I mean, it's beyond what most British people experience.
I mean, because there's so many of them, poverty is so high. But when you get to those upper echelons, and like especially in Dubai and things like that, I mean, things go on there that I can't even possibly imagine. It's like I've seen some documentaries here and there of like high earning models and things like that. It's like that is a whole different world, man. Topless models running around on a private plane with champagne. It's like, well, that's interesting.
Well, we've got 500 live viewers now, by the way, so we need at least 500 likes on the video.
Wow.
To push us up.
I am almost nervous. 500, that's 1,000 eyes. My God. What a bet there's one Cyclops in there. Actually, it's $4.99.
Well, Zolo might be wearing that pirate thing, so maybe
You're an ableist. Shut up.
So TJ says the average guy's value in Dubai is lower than in the West. Lots of crypto. I mean, that's true. And to be honest, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily. I was talking to this with my girlfriend when we were there. I mean, is it a place that you'd go to? It is a place. I think a lot of like lads, like British lads, go there. It's like, well, hey, let's go on the pool kind of thing, because people tend to get. This is the thing, right? With travel, people tend to drawn to the most obvious places, right? So that's why everyone goes to Ibiza, or everyone goes to, I don't know, Magaluf, or, you know, because they think, oh, right, loads of girls, bikinis, it's going to be easy. That's not necessarily true, and particularly somewhere like Dubai, because like this guy says, the reality is the competition there is sky high. I mean, if anything, it reminded me. I mean, there's a lot of money in Dubai. Let's be honest. I mean, there's a lot of Lambos around. There's a lot of fucking expensive cars. some of the hotel prices. So at the moment, because it's really hot over there, because it's the hottest months, the hotel prices drop a bit because fewer people go because it's so fucking hot. But we were looking at some of the hotel prices in going into October, November. So you're looking like 10 grand a night at some places, £10,000 a night to stay at something like the Atlantis. I mean, it's fucking minted over there, man. So it's certainly not a place I would recommend. Well, unless you go to Mark's Irish pubs, maybe it's different, but it's not a place I would recommend
I would say, in all honesty, Mark's Irish pubs do sound more fun. I don't know why. It's just maybe it's the blue collar in me, but I can always get along so well with those people where it's like I said, I am a bit like this scruffy looking nerf herder where it's like I have a thing. Maybe I'm wrong here, but maybe I met too much champagne socialists. There are people who have money who are absolutely insufferable. They are insufferable where they oh my God, they sit on that high horse and well, we care about the poor and blah blah blah. It's like, hey, can we borrow your bike? Absolutely not. How dare you ask me for a request? And it's like I said, my stereotype image of like the higher class is that they get so high on their own farts that they can't take a joke anymore. Where it's like, but can you still have fun? And it's like I said, it could be the blue collar in me because I knew a couple of blue collar millionaires. Holy shit. That is hilarious.
Yeah.
It really is.
Well, I mean, yeah. Look, I don't disagree. I mean, I'm somewhere in the middle with all of this stuff, and I think to be fair, my girlfriend kind of is as well because like I quite like sometimes going to these high life places just to have a look, and it's more like the people watching than anything. And there's a lot in London as well. I mean, we go to Mayfair sometimes, and you go there, and there's these restaurants, and actually it's full of Arab people actually, and like rich Arab people and some Russians and things like this, and just there's a really interesting mix of sort of kind of trashy new money kind of people and stuff like that. And it can be kind of interesting from the people watching point of view. But I also like going to complete shitholes as well, and kind of going to dives and stuff like that. And so I'm kind of happy in both, really. I don't really mind. I think it's not necessarily. I don't necessarily aspire to the Tate lifestyle as such. But it's interesting. But I just find people watching interesting in general, but I'm not really engaging with them that much. I'm more just sitting in the corner going, "Oh, look at her," or "Oh, do you reckon that dude's a sugar daddy," or whatever,
Oh, do you remember years ago, Rolo made that post? It was, I don't know if he took the photo. I don't think he did. He doesn't seem like the type he would do that. Although, not that I know him that well, but there was a photo from some random McDonald's, and there was this hot chick sitting with an older bloke. And he posted that, and he was like, "Do you think they're fucking?" And the conspiracy theories in the comments just went wild. It's like,
what were people saying?
Oh my God, there were all sorts of shit. Like, oh, he's a sugar daddy, and blah blah blah. He shits on her in Dubai, and oh my God, man. And Rob and I saw that, and the first thing Rob said is, could just be her dad who takes her out to dinner after he took her from school or whatever. It's like, doesn't have to be anything. But no, man, the comments went wild. Let's see.
We always joke, actually. I always joke with Sheena, with my girl about, do people think I'm her sugar daddy and all that kind of stuff? And I'm like, fucking hell, do you really think do I look that old? Am I in the sugar daddy zone already? Maybe I am. I don't know.
First of all, Troy is not old enough. Second, the money is not with him, people.
Yeah. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that, guys. Don't worry about that, guys. Which actually goes back to a slightly different topic, which is do women like older guys? I actually did a video about this yesterday, which I put out on the channel. I noticed it's actually got pretty high views already. I kind of knew it would because I know people are interested in this topic, and it's it's kind of interesting. I don't know if you've noticed, but on Twitter, on X, there's a few people, and not even women, surprisingly, but fucking dudes who are just vehemently obsessed with the idea that unless you're in your 20s, it's over. It's basically like, no, women want guys who are 23 to 27. Anything older than that, you're going to have to pay for it. Yeah, by the time you're 30, no genuine desire. It's all about money.
We have come full circle.
It's obviously fucking bollocks, but it's strange how guys just buy into this so vigorously. I don't know where it comes from, really. And like I say, it's not women that are commenting on this. It's fucking dudes.
No, we've come full circle. That's the norm. That's the norm. That's the average. The average bloke peaked in high school. You remember the guy from the gym stereotype. I used to bench 225, but then I had an injury after high school. Oh, I was able to squat 315, but, my knees gave out. I remember having a six-pack at 16. It's like, yeah, buddy, good on you. It's like I said, if you are 30, like I'm 33, you're like, I keep guessing wrong. I think it's 49 even. I'm sorry if I offended you, but like you're up there in age.
Yeah.
Much, but you know what I mean. The average late 40-year-old doesn't look like you. The average 33-year-old doesn't look like me. They have no comprehension of what could be. I remember years ago, I was at a birthday party. What was it? One of the wives, because of course they talk and they shouldn't, because seriously, women and opinions. But they're like, oh, it's normal for a guy to get like a beer belly at 30. And I look at her, I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah, that's normal. I'm like, you do know I'm 31, right? It's like, because her husband, who was 28, was already getting it. It's like, oh, that's just normal. No, you make it normal. It's like you accept it for what it is. Do not accept it. That's the first step for anybody watching now. Do not accept the norm. Just don't.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I think as guys, I mean, this should be well known by now because it's been repeated ad infinitum all over the internet. But I mean, guys have a much longer run rate than women do. And I mean, the reality is that, I mean, so I've got a couple of guys in my private WhatsApp group, right? And without naming names, so one of them is obsessed with his younger years because he's I think he's about your age or maybe even a bit older, like he's in his 30s, and he's obsessed. He keeps saying, "Oh, girls used to really like me when I was at high school. I used to get all this attention, and now I'm 30 and I don't get any attention." It's like, well, firstly, you dress like a fucking dog. And secondly, you don't approach enough. And thirdly, you're living in a shitty fucking town where there's not enough attractive women anyway. And fourthly, you're working a shitty job that's not going to impress anybody anyway. Not that it's all about jobs, not that it's all about money, but still, come on, guys. I mean, if you're delivering pizzas, it's not really going to get wet, okay?
That's kind of cool though, but I know you.
So like. Or at least even if you are delivering pizzas, but you've got some rears, you can pull it off, right? But this guy, it's not his looks are not the problem, but he's obsessed. Some guys are obsessed with the glory years. Oh, I was at high school. The reason, what the reason is? The reason is because maybe they were quite kind of decent looking at the time, and they had a kind of captive audience because in that hierarchy, maybe they were one of the better looking guys, so they were getting attention from women. What they've failed to do is to learn how to be fucking social as adults. And when you're an adult, when you leave school, you leave university, you've got to get out there and you've got to fucking make it happen for yourself. And if you don't, and you just sit there in your bedroom with your dick in your hands, then don't be surprised that there's no point, there's no value in looking at old pictures of yourself and going, fuck, I wish I was 20 again.
No. Like in all honesty, I do it every now and then mentally. Because I haven't changed that much since 28, not physically, other than I got a couple of tattoos and maybe the hair every now and then is longer or shorter, but that's kind of it. But like with dating, like I don't like saying this, but Tinder has changed. Tinder has changed. I mean, in my own dating, I have become a bit bitter in all honesty. And I know that of myself, and I'm kind of wallowing in that bitterness where it's like, nah, let me be bitter for a while. That's okay. That's okay. I can be bitter for a while. But I am noticing that there are differences coming with the times, but aren't necessarily because of me. Because
but are you talking about like age, like people are less tolerant of age and things like that because of Tinder?
No, but Tinder just used to be different. I was talking to Watson about this because he and I used to like slay left and right on Tinder when this was 2014, 15, and 16. That was just, you could get like 3 girls in a week, shit like that. At least a new girl every week. If not, sometimes it would be every 2 weeks. The people on Tinder were there for what it was meant for, just casual secret hookups. But these days, the majority on Tinder is like, I'm looking for something serious. I want an official commitment, because they're so socially retarded that they can't do it in real life anymore. Those people used to do it in real life. The serious people used to be in real life. The degenerates, they used to use online dating. But it's not for that anymore. It's like that old, or it's not even old, the statistic, like most people now meet on online dating because online dating has become the norm. Hey, it's Project Z-Pod. Good to see you, man.
Yes.
But yeah, that is, yeah.
But it has become the norm, but it doesn't have to be the norm for you.
No.
I don't mean you, Jack. I mean like you, whoever's watching this. Like it doesn't like, I'm not even on any of the apps, and not because of, before my girl, I wasn't even fucking on any of the apps. The only time in the last 3 years I might have fired up one of the apps was maybe if I went on a trip and I wanted to just have a look and see if there's anything out there and pipeline a little bit. Aside from that, I just don't use the fucking apps. I just meet people in real life, and it's, so all of these problems that because dudes are like, they get these problems because, on the app they write their age and then they write their height and they're getting rejected. The girl isn't even seeing them because they're 34 and her higher limit is 32, and if you it's all these bollocks, and it's like you could cut out all of this shit just by not being on the apps and going and talking to people in real life. Because when you do that, like, to be quite frank, there's no way on fucking in fucking hell that I would be with my current girl if we'd been relying on apps. She'd have just fucking swiped left immediately, or she wouldn't even see my profile. Do you know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean. In all honesty, the best relationships I ever had, and most of the relationships I've ever had, didn't come from online dating, but I met them somewhere. I met them at work or work-related stuff.
I've had several girls.
Oh, God damn it. It's the Apple thing. It's like, I can't put my thumbs up anymore. I can't do the peace sign, or otherwise I get these weird animations behind me. And I'm keeping it on. But social, like social, work-related, this kind of work-related too. Or maybe there was one relationship I ever got from online dating, but the rest and the best experiences all came from real life.
And the problem is, guys,
and I consider this too.
Yeah, and so guys guys online will like I'll say, dating coaching, cold approach, stuff like that. Guys will go, oh well, that's nobody meets like that anymore. Well, that's your fucking choice, you dog. If you want to conform to that and just sit there, swipe with your dick in your hand, swiping on your phone, that's a decision that you've made. Like, okay, you could argue, what about the laws about approaching people and stuff? But the reality is, for the most part, there's no problem still going up to somebody and saying, hey, I think you look nice, I wanted to come and say hello, and seeing how that conversation goes. All right? And that's how I've met most of, my girlfriends, serious or otherwise. And, I've had several girls saying to me, like, basically, I probably, if I'd have, like, we wouldn't have met probably if I'd have seen you on an app, but the balls that you had to come up and talk to me, and obviously I'm able to showcase my amazing personality and all the rest of it, when I'm in front of her.
Amazing hairline.
Exactly. And that gives you huge brownie points that you're not getting on the apps. Another problem with the apps is, quite frankly, a lot of guys' photos on the apps are fucking dog shit. So guys are there going, oh, the app. I'm sure that's not the case with you, but I mean, a lot of guys are going like, oh, the apps are really bad, blah blah blah. And then you look at their pictures and he goes, look at this. Would you fuck you? Look at this fucking picture. You look like a fucking dog. Like, what do you fucking expect? You know.
I mean, you know why I like you are 100% right, but I hate it so much they used it in Silence of the Lambs because it is a genuine question guys need to ask themselves. Would you fuck you? Like, would you? I mean, like,
one of the guys
know to do something about it. It's like
one of the guys in our group shared a picture the other day. And he showed a picture that he put on Tinder, and it was himself wearing this like baggy, like sort of badly fitting t-shirt. He sort of got sort of expression like this. And the top of his head was cut off, and he's in his kitchen or something. And I was like, no disrespect, man, but that picture is fucking appalling. Like, there is no woman who is getting wet looking at that picture. There is no woman on the fucking planet who's sitting there, like, in her underpants, like, rubbing her clit, looking at that, going, yeah, I wouldn't mind a bit of that. Like, what do you retards fucking expect?
I'm not going to lie. That is the biggest compliment a woman can give you. Like, I masturbated to you, where it's like thank you.
There's probably some women. Well, look, there's 540 people watching this now. There's probably a couple of people masturbating to us now. So probably not all female.
Okay, guys.
Yeah, probably not all female. Knowing, I mean, some of the haters that I get on Twitter, I mean, mainly of the rainbow community, I have to say.
I remember Rule Zero Dad. So a while back, I posted a shirtless photo, and this is years ago. And because I was always a bit insecure about that. Like, I knew I had the physique, but like presenting it was always a bit like, should I do that? Isn't that too arrogant? But I mean, I mean, it shows. And then Chesty, Rule Zero Dad, a couple of months later, he's like, just be aware, any photo you have put on the internet of yourself, somebody will jack off to it. I'm like, oh no. No, I don't want that. God damn it, Chest. Why? And I will never do it again. Never. You hear me?
I mean, I mean, I get on Twitter, I get a lot of guys who comment under all my posts and stuff like that. And you can tell it's basically they are repressed homosexuals, because why would you continually post under the same guys like posts every day? There's no other reason. It's repressed homosexual desire. And man, I'm cool with that. Like, I don't mind. If somebody's having trouble coming out, expressing their sexuality, and they want to use me as a focal point, that's cool, man. I mean, I'm not going to do anything with you physically. I'm not going to fucking meet up with you. But, you know, if I can help you to embrace the inner homosexual within you, then that's cool, bro. I mean, you do you, man. It's Pride Month.
No, that's true. Could you give me 2 minutes?
What are you going to jack off?
To this stream, yes. No, I'll be right back.
Yeah, okay. All right, no worries. All right, guys. So look, if anybody's got any questions on any of that anyway, let us know. I mean, my standards are quite low. Good to see you, man. Hope we can make the job more bearable. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Yeah, if anyone's got any questions or any comments they want to make, please do so. I think the stream's been pretty fun so far. I mean, what else could we say, really? I think that I personally, I just don't really I don't really think about you know, ethnicity or anything like that when I date. All I'm bothered about really is the woman attractive, right? Am I attracted to the woman? I mean, that's it really. And then beyond that, it then comes down to personality, and it's such an obvious thing to say. All right, it's such a ridiculously, stupidly obvious thing to say, but it really just comes down to, do I get on with her? Right? Is she cool to be around? Is she somebody that I can have fun with, not just in a sexual way, but just somebody I can have a laugh with, I feel chilled with, I feel relaxed with? Those are the things that are important. The rest of it is just, you know, it's just absolute nonsense. Now, actually, there was a couple of questions I think that came through. Here we go. Troy or Tusk going back to the motherland this summer. Which motherland are you talking about? Are you talking about Russia, or are you talking about England, because I'm in England right now. But which motherland are you talking about? Somebody was asking me about. Yeah, she's I met her, she was in her 20s, she's in her early 30s now. How do you manage your expectation of getting serious marriage? We just take it a day at a time, man. I mean, I'm not necessarily I'm not averse to those things necessarily. I mean, I think look, I mean, at some point, right, what are you going to do? And this is the big question, right? Do you want to be single forever and just date around and travel and do all of that stuff? Or do you want to create something with somebody which is, in theory, more meaningful? Now, it's a moot point because both states have benefits and both states have things that you could say are detrimental. Okay. Obviously, guys like variety, right? I think that's undeniable. Women like variety as well, by the way, but I think men particularly were very much attuned to liking variety. There's that excitement of meeting somebody new and experiencing all of that. But the harsh reality of it is, and I know this because I've lived this lifestyle and I have friends who live this lifestyle, you can travel around, you can meet different women, you can have sex with different women, you can do all of this stuff. Does it make you happy? Not really. Not really. You can have fun. You can have excitement. It can be pleasurable, but does it make you happy? That's the question. And actually, it kind of doesn't. And I know people who are living very itinerant lifestyles, okay, who are traveling around. They don't really have a fixed base. They're traveling from country to country. They're sleeping with different women. They're probably, doing different drugs and things like this. On the surface, it sounds great. On the surface, it sounds wonderful. But there are a lot of dark nights of the soul that come with that, okay? There's a lot of downs. There's highs, but there are lows, all right? It's not this kind of just nirvana where you're ecstatic the whole time. It really fucking isn't. There's loneliness, there's doubt, there's existential dread, all of this different stuff that you've got to contend with, okay? On the other side of it, being with somebody that you love, that very intimately, that sexually you know very well, you guys know how to please each other and everything. There's huge benefits to that, okay? But of course, on the other side of that, then you tend to get into something that's more domestic, all right? And if you're of a somewhat adventurous bent, you like to get out there, you like to get amongst it, you like to have fun and experience different cultures and things. Obviously, that's good. I mean, you can travel together, but obviously that's going to be curtailed to some extent. So you've kind of got to make a choice, and maybe the choice is. Maybe this is about the Eckhart Tolle thing, right? Of living in the moment, okay? Because all we have really is the moment, okay? So it's fine to think, all right, so what about in 30 years' time? What about in 50 years' time? Maybe the right thing to do is to not think like that. Maybe the right thing to do is to think, okay, how am I feeling now? Is this situation now making me happier or less happy? And if it's making you happier, carry on. Enjoy it now for what it is. Don't assume it's going to last forever. Don't assume, because, we can aspire for something to last forever and we can hope that it's going to last forever. We can plan for it to last forever, but we never really know what's going to happen in life because, unfortunately, a lot of shit happens in life that we can't affect, right? And I'm not talking about, breakups happen, of course, but illness happens, all right? People die, right? Things go wrong. Things don't go as we plan. We don't know what the future is. The future doesn't exist. So maybe the right way to think about this is, okay, is this making me happy right now? Now, I've spent a lot of time being extremely hedonistic, and I've enjoyed some of it. And I've also, quite frankly, been quite mentally scarred by some of it as well. And I've spent time in relationships, and I've had amazing times in relationships. I have amazing times with my girlfriend now. Okay. Does that mean that it's this sort of sugar field of, there's never any problems, there's never any friction or anything like that? No, of course not. So I think it's sort of like, firstly, I think you don't have to. Maybe it's not about saying, right, this is the decision that I'm making now, and it's for the rest of my life. And secondly, maybe just go with the flow. I don't know. I'm just talking, Jack, about the relative merits of being in a relationship versus sort of being free and single and all that kind of shit.
I mean, both has its ups and downs. Depending on the relationship, like if you've done proper boundary enforcement, things like that, the relationship can be absolutely great.
Yeah.
It kind of comes down to what you want. Like, I'm not a big guy for the relatives and shit like that, so I don't miss that at all. Not at all. But there's like other things where like you spend a lazy Sunday together doing nothing but laying in bed watching films, fucking a bit left and right, and that's it. But
here's the thing: both things can be great. Okay, it's like it can be great to be single and to be meeting new women and to be having all of that fun and excitement and all that kind of stuff. But it can also equally be great in a different way to be intimate with somebody that you know well and you have a bond with. Both of them are fucking great. They're just a different kind of great. It's like, do you want to do heroin or do you want to do cocaine? Or maybe you could do both at the same time. That's what I normally do. Or do you want to do tren or do you want to do coke? Just do a bit of both, man.
I have never done either, in all honesty.
Well, maybe tonight's the night. I think that's a Russian flag. Is that a Russian flag?
Yeah.
No plans this year. I think James was thinking about it. I don't think he's going to do it now. That I think he will. I think he will do it. Maybe next year, but I don't think this year. But his plans change all the time. So let's see. I don't personally have plans for it for this year at least. When are you going to do more on the date infield vids? Don't really like doing that. I think that's a bit of an invasion of privacy, to be honest. I mean, I think infields themselves are a bit, a little bit suspect anyway. I think actually
they're risky. They're risky.
Yeah, I think filming sunburn on a day is a little bit, I mean, maybe you guys need to find out for themselves rather than take your word. But maybe guys need to find that out for themselves rather than take your word. Well, yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, you need to. Whatever he's referring to.
I will never tell a guy what he should do. I will only suggest to a guy what he could do.
So this is an interesting one. Philip King, which decade's better in your experience, Troy, 30s or 40s in terms of getting high-value women? So what's interesting, I was talking to someone about this yesterday. So actually what's interesting, so my 30s were my most prolific period, I would say, in terms of dating. And I've said many times, actually 39, I was dating like a fucking lunatic. I mean, I at one point I had like 5 girls on the go at the same time. I was just like, it was fucking exhausting, but obviously a lot of fun. So my 30s were very prolific. In my 40s, I slowed down a bit. And it was not so much lack of opportunity. It was more, I was teaching more. I had a girlfriend. You start to slow down a bit in terms of, you're not running around like a dog with 2 dicks anymore. However, what I would say is in my 40s, the quality was probably the best that I've ever met in my life. So in answer to your question, 40s. But I think there's a number of reasons for that. I think it's partly, it's like what we said before. It kind of depends. I mean, one 45-year-old is not equal to another 45-year-old. I mean, there are guys who are younger than me who look like a fucking bucket of shit, to be honest. Are they going to be putting hot models in Saint-Tropez? Obviously not, right? For me personally, because I managed to keep myself in reasonable shape and I dress quite well and I can act kind of sophisticated when I want to, I mean, my 40s were fucking brilliant, but you've got to make sure the fundamentals are in place. Study came out saying men peak at 42 and women 20. That might be true.
Oh man, I've got 9 years. 9 years till I peak. Nice.
9 years to peak, man. 9 years to peak.
I always thought it was 35, but
well, no, you got a good. Well, I think it's going to get older and older anyway, because as we live longer and as I know obesity crisis and stuff, but at the same time, we understand a bit more about health. There's more things you can do to kind of. So I think he's going to get older. I think 50s are the new 20s, man. To be honest, I'm just living the
What was that old Tom Likas quote? Your girlfriend is born at 25? Something like that. So he means that your girlfriend is born when you were 25. Something
I think mine was, to be honest. I mean, my girlfriend's like 20 years younger than me, which is and actually, I mean, for me, that's quite. I mean, I have always, for my entire life, I've only ever dated women in their 20s and sometimes early 30s, and that's it. Okay, and then I get guys in my group. You know, I've had guys who's like, oh, yeah, I'm 48 and I'm dating this woman. Yeah, she's 64, but, you know, her body's still great and, you know, or she's 56 or whatever. I'm like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Like, seriously, man, you know.
Little bit of the old George Bruno, eh?
Well, I think, look, I think it's fine. Look, I mean, I'm not trying to be overly ageist here. I think if you meet somebody and you love them... I think look, if you meet somebody and you love them and you want to have a life together, they're going to get older, you're going to get older. Okay, fine. That's a different thing. I think if you're out on the dating marketplace and you're in your 40s and you're dating women who are 20 years older than you, something's going wrong there, in my opinion. I mean, it just, like, call me a misogynist, whatever. I just, is that really what you want, bro? I mean, seriously.
I think there's one in there who was older than I was.
Would you bang a 64-year-old?
No. I was thinking, like, did I ever bang a girl who was older than I was? And I think I did. She was 32 and I was 19, 20? I think it was 20 back in the day.
I never have. And the only time I have
was in the bathroom. It was in the bar toilet.
Well, that's okay. That's kind of just a throwaway kind of. So I never have, but the one time I did actually once date a girl, and she was 6 months older than me. Okay, so I was like 30, she's like 30, 30 and a half or whatever, and even that freaked me out. I was like, "Fuck, this girl's older than me," so I had to end it. So that's how extreme I am about it. I'm like, if she's not like, you could call it extreme toxic masculinity or whatever. But personally, for me, I just think that I like the dynamic of her being younger. And no, I'm not talking because she's manipulable or any manipulative. It's not about that.
That prefrontal cortex.
It's just a good vibe. It's just a good vibe. I can teach them about my old boomer fucking shit music, and they can show me, they can play me their fucking trap or whatever and show me how to use fucking TikTok properly and stuff. I mean, it's just a good vibe. It's just more fun. You know what I'm saying?
No, it is. I mean, I know you kind of disagree with me on this one, and that is perfectly fine. I could be in the wrong, but my experience is women over 25 are just mentally an absolute... The wall is mental, not physical. And okay, there is leniency. Like, some are 28 and they're perfectly fine and whatever. And it's a general statement where I kind of say, like, don't date above 25. Except there are exceptions to the norm. There are exceptions to the norm.
You would you would say don't date above 25.
Yeah, in general.
Okay, fine. Well, that's fine. But I think...
But I'm 33, so maybe when I'm 50, I'd be like,
I think I should. I just feel like I should get a little bit of a pass now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Don't worry. I'm not judging you.
No. And like I'm saying, I mean, like before I was dating, I was dating this girl who was 24, and I've dated, like, last year I dated various girls in their 20s and stuff like that. So I've still got my 20s card is still there. My current girl is in her early 30s. But I mean, come on, bro. I mean, I think at some point it's like, particularly if you really like the person, you're kind of serious about them. I think,
but I dated above 25, but it's sometimes I say things.
Put it this way. If I went back out on the market again, I would probably do what you're saying. I would probably DiCaprio, because I was kind of DiCaprioing it anyway. I made an except with her. It's different, but
here is an interesting question though.
Yeah.
Did you notice that when you got older, it got easier with the 20-year-olds? I do wonder.
I think it got easier in general because I just give less of a fuck. Oh. And what I mean by that is that like I've said this many times, but I genuinely mean it, which is that often I would arrange a date with somebody, and I'm always hoping they're going to flake. I'm almost hoping they're going to flake on me. I'm like looking at the phone, like it's 2 hours before the day. I'm like, fuck. I hope she messages me and cancels the date, because that way I can sit at home and with my dick in my hand, and I can just watch some shit on YouTube and just kind of relax. I gotta go on this fucking date with this bird. And, oh shit! And what that means is they never flake. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
So I think
I have a story for you. We'll do it after the show, but I've got some stories.
But I think one of the problems, and I had this myself, and I think one of the problems with younger guys is you want it so much because you're so fueled up with testosterone, and so am I chemically, but that's a different story. But you're so fueled up with testosterone, and you're so like horny, you desperately want it. So it's like, oh shit. Oh, fuck, oh, the date, oh my God. And it assumes this huge importance. And I think that communicates itself in some way as neediness, which then subconsciously becomes a bit repellent to her. Whereas with me, I'm just like, yeah, you're all right. Okay, yeah, whatever. And the other thing is as well, as you get older and you've been with more different women and stuff, you kind of feel like you meet some chick and you think, yeah, she's a bit like that one I fucked 3 years ago. They're all kind of it's like, yeah, I kind of, it'll be fun, but I kind of done it already, man. Do you know what I mean? And it just becomes the thing. And I think that communicates itself in a way that communicates non-neediness, and that then becomes ironically more attractive. So it's definitely got easier as I've got older. But the less you care about anything, the more power you have, I think.
That is true.
Philip says, do you see yourself playing the game in your 60s, or are you going to settle down and cash out anytime soon while your SMV is pretty high? Well, I mean, I am cashed out at the moment. I'm with my girlfriend, and that. Let's see where that goes. I mean, obviously, we can never make, as I said, we can never make predictions about life because you don't know what's going to happen. But I mean, I'm with my girl. I mean, we're having a great time. So, she is certainly. I said to her, if she is somebody I would certainly cash out for. And I mean, that's sort of what I'm doing at the moment. So let's see where we end up. But, the answer is, I think aside from that, I think going on from what I was just saying, I think naturally, maybe it's not the same for every guy. I think for me, naturally, you do start to slow down a bit. So when you say doing game in your 60s, I don't think I'm going to be running around the fucking shopping mall. I think, yeah, you probably see, I know guys in their 60s, they're out there, they're dating.
Not Troy. Didn't James have a friend? What's his name? Like the silver fox, but in Spanish.
Yeah.
Or in Portuguese, whatever. How old is he?
He's not that old, actually. He's
no, he's just grey. It's like
he's similar age to me, but he was with this 19-year-old for a while. Although I believe that I've never met him. I believe that they're no longer together. But he was with this 19-year-old Colombian girl for a while, and I think they got engaged and stuff like that. So, but I mean, I know guys in their 60s. I think, look, the good news, I think this is good news, is that you do slow down a bit. So all of this stuff that seems so important, if you're watching this and you're like 30 or something, it kind of becomes less important as you get older. You're like, yeah, I kind of want to I'd like to get laid sometimes, but the burning white heat of, oh my fucking God, I need to get, it becomes less, and the need for validation lessens as well. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a good thing, because to be honest, it allows me to concentrate on things that I would regard as being more important, like maybe doing writing or creating or work or business, or you know what I mean? Like running around and trying to get laid the whole time. It's fun, but it's, like ultimately, it's not really meaningful, is it?
Mm. Well, I mean, meaningful. It had meaning to me. Every woman I ever had sex with was meaningful to me.
No, you're okay. You're all right, mate. I put it the wrong way, but
it meant something to me.
Maybe I put that the wrong way. What
Well,
else have we got?
No, women are heartless, cold creatures.
I know. Snap, summer fling with a 32-year-old when I was 20. Okay, fair enough. And then it gets easier because women like older men. Well, yeah, I mean, as I say, look on my channel. There's a video about this. I think in general, I think they do. I mean, I think it depends on the older man. I mean, and how the older man presents. But I think, yeah. I mean, one thing, an argument I would make against the guys who say no, you've got to be in your 20s. A problem with some dudes in their 20s is they look too baby faced. They look too young, right? They look like fucking kids. Okay. And I don't think women find that particularly sexy. All right. I mean, yes, obviously you've got Chads, you've got Abercrombie and Fitch models who are in their 20s and they look, and they're getting laid like a rock star. Okay, fine. But there's also plenty of guys who are kind of like, they're baby face. They haven't got much facial hair. They just look fucking young. Like, again, no girl's like fucking freaking herself off to that. I don't think. I mean, look at Daniel Craig as James Bond. Quite craggy. Kind of older looking, but masculine features, right? That's attractive. Not some dude who looks like he's just come out of fucking high school.
True. Yeah, it kind of depends. Oh, hold up. What's going on here? Okay, no, that's still good. It kind of depends. Like Uncle Vaz used to write about this. Like there are 3 types of women. There are women who dislike older men, who are on the fence about older men, and who genuinely love older men. And it's your job to separate the wheat from the chaff on the girls who do love older men.
Yeah, true. And I think there's enough of the ones that love older men.
I'm still here, by the way.
Yeah, cool. I think there's enough of the ones that love older men to, you're not going to run out anytime soon, put it that way. Are you on TRT, Troy? Fucking loads of Tran, basically. So look, Jack, we've been on for an hour and 46 now, so I don't know how much longer you've got, but we could maybe call it.
Yeah, let's call it. We've been going on for a while. Why is my phone not charging? Okay.
Well, whatever. Technical issues in the background, but we've got.
Oh, now it's working. Never mind, I got it. There we go.
We've actually got 582 people on here now, so we need 582 likes on the video.
Nice.
It's actually
we got one.
Oh yeah. All right, Troy Francis, Jack Napier. Yeah, the skinny.
$4.99.
What's the skinny? What's the podcast?
Oh, what was it again? Skinny white guys with cleavage podcast.
we should actually brand it and start doing it weekly because
that would actually be funny.
Yeah, but all right. Well, look, let's call it anyway because I need to go and do some stuff. But another great show. Thanks everybody for tuning in. It's really good numbers today. Actually, 582 people are listening to us banging on about this nonsense. So many thanks to all of you for being here with us, and anyone who watches this on the replay. Anything you've got coming up, Jack? What's happening with Rule Zero tomorrow?
I don't know. Actually, I have no idea who's hosting. No idea. As for me, if 500 people are actually watching this, please follow my new Twitter account. I would really appreciate it. It's at @notjacknap. Please go follow that. I would really appreciate it. I need to rebuild my Twitter because the old one got suspended. But other than that, no, great show. I had fun. Thanks
Absolutely.
for the time again.
On that note, please do subscribe to both of our YouTube channels and give us a like on the way out. Follow me on Twitter as well at Real Troy Francis because I'm putting quite a lot of content, or X. I'm putting quite a lot of content up on there as well now. You can also follow me on Instagram on the same handle as well. But X I think is like you said, I think is where it's at. So definitely follow me on there. We have a bit of banter, get into some arguments and shit like that. So it's all good.
Exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Great to see you as always. And we'll see you guys again very soon.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.